Hey, good morning, guys. Sifu Tarbell here at Wuxia Martial Arts. So this is going to be part 3 of our kick defense series. The last two series we took, episodes we took a look at defending linear kicks to mid-level in a couple of different ways, and you guys can go back and reference that. And then we talked about how to use like the slant thrust kick and the stop kick. And then if kicks started to come a little bit higher as we're trying to do some of our mid-level stuff, like if the kick goes up, how are some ways that we can kind of deal with that? So today what we're going to do is we're going to take a look at one of the more dangerous kicks in all of martial arts is the round kick. When somebody is coming up and throwing this kick up high, all right, so we're going to take a look at that. And then also, what if it's coming mid-level to the body? So, well, let's get started. So in Wing Tsun, we talk about others walk the bow, which means the curve, right, the circular angle, right? Whereas Wing Tsun walks the string. So if you're thinking about like a bow and arrow, right, and you have your bow, you have the curved part, right, which is long, right, and then you have the string, which is pretty sharp and pretty straight. So when we say in Wing Tsun, like others walk the bow, that means a lot of other styles will do kind of big whipping motions, whether it be the kicking or the punching or something like that. Whereas Wing Tsun tries to be very direct and very linear and just going straight right away. So with that concept, let's think about this, yeah? So, according to the idea of fighting strategy, if something big is coming, right, and something round, it's going to take a little bit longer to get there, even if you're exceptionally fast, right? It's going to take a little bit longer than if you can just go forward and straight, right? So it's like fencing, right? So if you were fencing with somebody and you had your saber or your rapier, this one, right, from here, and this other person came in with like a big, like slash. If they hit you, they're going to kill you, right? I mean, right, if you're able to just poke them very quickly, then you're able to like score first. So for Wing Tsun, timing, of course, is always important, but our speed is not based off our athletic ability. It's based off of Wing Tsun timing, right? And we always say here that timing beats speed and precision beats power. So that's what we're looking at today. So if I set up in a good character too, just like this, the first defense that we really look at of somebody trying to come up and like throw this high kick, right, is if the kick is going to come either way, right? This is the beauty, is you don't really have to think. One is I'm outside of the kicking range, right? So I'm never like starting with that person right in front of me, right? If they're right in front of you, you should have already hit them, right? So they have to cross over into this magnetic zone. So like if you drew a line in the sand, right, that's kind of like where you're safe, that you can be here and there's no real threat to you. But the minute that that person steps into your personal space or Wing Tsun space, close quarter combat space, we should already be attacking, right? And for the first thing that we teach, even the beginners, is that if I'm here, right, and somebody steps in, that we step in also. So this is the whole like string versus the bow theory, that as soon as they come in, right, we go linear, we go straight, hard and fast right away. So for somebody stepping in to like throw this kick, there's a bit of a windup that they have to do. They have to step, they have to throw the kick, right? So from here, as soon as they step, I step, right? And I go forward with chain punches. And it seems really, really simple, but if you can get the timing right, this is probably the most basic defense that we have in Wing Tsun for dealing with roundhouse kicks. But I can tell you it's also the easiest one to do, and it's the one that you'll rely on the most in sparring, right? Against a good kicker needs space, right? They want to be able to be out here so that they can set up all of their kicks, right? And Wing Tsun's specialty is going forward and taking away space. So drill number 1 is from here, as they step in, I step in, and I throw chain punches, just like that, okay? So drill number 1, as soon as they step, I step. And it doesn't matter because I'm trying to get inside the kick, right? Of course, if I stay all the way outside, it can be quite dangerous, right? But if I'm able to like close that distance, it's like somebody swinging a bat, right? You never want to be at the end of the bat. Like some people are like, oh, you should dodge it or whatever. That's never a good idea. As soon as the guy winds up and he's starting to do this, you should already be like on him and closing the distance. So it's like this in Wing Tsun as well. Their leg is like the bat. They step in, right, to throw the kick. I step in and I throw chain punches. It's very basic, very easy concept. And the nice thing is you can have somebody, like even if they're not very flexible, it's pretty early in the morning here at Wuxia. I'm not very flexible right now either. But you can have somebody like just be here outside of the range and then they like step in and they just like go to throw the kick. They just swing the leg nice and easy. And just see if you can go from here and as soon as they step, either side doesn't matter. As soon as they step, but I get in and I try to do this. All right, so that's number one. Number two is we take a look at the sixth set, right? And you remember in Dati Shwaina, like this cycle that we have, right? Like punching, right? All the upper body striking can defeat, you know, we have the cycle can defeat different things, right? So like somebody who's very good at striking, right? You probably want to get in on that guy and try to control him a little bit, or use your kicking, right, to keep him at bay so that he's not able to like hit you, right? And then again, somebody who's very good at kicking, we try to catch the kick and you try to take them down, because wrestling typically will beat kicking because you're on one leg. And then for wrestling, of course, we say like the china, or like in jiu-jitsu, it's the same concept, like submissions. If somebody's holding you tight and they have you, like it's always best if you can do some china to them or lock them in a way that they, you know, they don't want to grab you anymore, or they can't. And then for the people who are trying to grab, they get the punches, right? So it's this cycle, Dati Shwaina. And we can talk more in class if you guys are interested. There's a whole theory on this here for Wuxia. That's our kind of our fighting strategy. But this concept now is if somebody's going to kick, all right, drill number two is that we're going to throw them, right? So we use some of the shuai, some of the wrestling and takedown. So from here, right, as they go to kick, right, I'm going to go this way and use the scissors gun side, right, just like this. The bottom hand is going to come straight up, like that. We call lao sao. This means cradling hand or lifting hand, right? And then this top hand, this high scissors gun side, is going to be a fox up to the throat. So before I step, right, the kick is coming, right, and I go 1, 2, like this. So 1, 2, right, and again. And it doesn't matter which hand's on top, right, like that. But I don't want to try to have this hand, right? So I go 1. So whatever hand you have forward is okay, right? But if I'm going to turn this way, right, I want to have the opposite, right, out like that. And this is nice because it kind of creates a shield, right? From like mid-level all the way to high level, right? And I'm not trying to like take the brunt of the kick. I mean, this is going to be a time thing as well. So you would never like stay there and just try to block this guy's kick. I mean, you'll break your arm, right? So this is more of a, as he's kicking, I go with the flow, and then I step in from here. So let's put it together, right? So from here, I turn the scissors gun out, right? And this is just from here, right? I have the low guns up like that, just from the sunumtao, right? And then this high one is like a jumps out, but I just turn like that. You can actually train this from high jumps out. I go guns out, and then I rotate the elbow, and I come back here, and I come back here, and I come back like that. And it should always have a nice angle like this. So for you danshi people, it's kind of like that, right? Where when the person palms in, I go jumps out, and I sink. It's just a little bit higher because I need it to defend my face. And in the beginning, we use this thing, scissors gun style, defensively. But later on, for Buji level and stuff, you'll end up using this thing offensively to trap and hit them at the same time and do some very cool things with it. Right? Defend hook punches, stuff like that. Yeah. So from here, we go scissors guns out, right? The bottom hand turns up, right? Look at this way, and that's going to be my lao sao. That's the lifting hand, right? From the sixth set of the sunumtao. So I go here, scissors guns out, right? And as this comes up, the high gun sao is going to go fox out. So I go 1, 2, 3. And as I do this, I lift this up a little bit. So we're actually catching his leg. So I stop his motion, catch his leg, right? And as I go forward, I lift this real high so he's standing on one leg. And then this is so he can't try to punch, or if he's got his hands up, right? We're trying to use this forward momentum. Or if he doesn't have his hands up, right, then he ends up getting this fox out to the throat with this. So we go here, we go 1, 2, and then we have the step. 1, 2, 1, 2. And from the side, we have scissors guns out. So there's not too much space between my arms, but also not too tight. So 1. And then as I go up, 2, just like that. Lao Sao and Fox Sao, stepping forward. Here, 1, 2. And from the front, 1, 2. And you can notice when I do this at the end, I'm trying to lift this up nice and high. I don't want to have this kind of like low level where the guy still has balance by lifting up and going forward. You really put him on his toes and then he has trouble to keep the balance. So 1, 2, and we go a little bit higher, okay? All right, guys, so those are your 2 concepts for the week for dealing with the round kick. Later on, we'll start to take a look at how can we use our kicks. That'll be next week. We'll take a look at part 4 in the series. How do we use our kicks to deal with somebody who's trying to throw the round kick in terms of taking out their knees and also just impeding their forward momentum. So just to review, so drill number 1, right? The easiest one in the system is as the guy steps into kick, I also step in, right? And I walk the string. I go straight, right, as he's trying to go around. So I try to beat him. My punch beats him to his kick. Yeah, so I go this way, right? Just like that. Remember, he's on one leg at this point when you're trying to punch as well. All right, and then drill number 2 is we use the shuai jiao to toss this guy. So from here, we go scissors, gun sao, and then I lift with the lao sao, and I go forward with the fox sao. So 1, 2, just like that. So I strongly suggest you try to train the second one definitely on both sides. You can go 1, 2, and come back. 1, 2, and come back. Just because you never know where that kick's going to come from. For me, like I said, I have I like stepping in and punching hard and fast if the guy is going to try to throw the kick. And then next week, we'll take a look at some strategies on how to destroy the legs with our kicks, right? How to do some stuff when he's on one leg. And then striking the groin and stuff for self-defense and some of those a little bit more realistic things that you can't really do too well in sparring, but on the street, they work fantastic, okay? So try to train those things and have a good week, guys, and we'll see you later.